Ralph S. Mouse. Barry Cleary. Contest. Ralph S. Mouse. Chapter 1. A dark and snowy night. Night wind mowing around corners and whistling through cracks, dashes snow against the window of the mountain view in. Inside a fire crackle in a stone fireplace. The grandfather's clock, as old and tired as the inn itself, marked the passing of time with a slow tick-tock that seems to say, "Wait in, wait in." Everyone in the lobby was waiting the desk clerk and a handyman, old man, who also carried it. Gus and Rainwich to the room. Ryan Barrow, the sons of hotel news housekeeper, and Raph, the house who lived under grandfather's clock. The desk clerk Gus waiting for the Gus, who did not arrive. Matt leaned against the wall to watch television while he waited for the desk clerk to close up for the night. Ryan sat on the floor to watch television, wait for his mother to tell him to go to bed because he had to go to school for the next day. Raph crouched beside Ryan, waiting for the dog to leave so he could bring out the mouse-sized motorcycle. Unfortunately, Raph's little brothers, sisters, and cousins hiding with the pile and behind the curtain were also waiting. On the television set, a sport car crashed into a truck, shot off a cliff, and burst to flames. Wow! Without taking his eyes from the screen, Ryan said, "There is a boy at school named Brad Kirby who would really like this movie. He has a BMX bicycle for motocross racing, and brother sometimes driving with to school a tow truck." A police car followed the sport car over the cliff before Ryan added, "Brad isn't very friendly to me. He sports a loner." Raph was a more interested in television than Ryan's problems. "If we have sport cars like that," he said, "I wouldn't let it run off a cliff." Raph was an into mouse. He had listened to so many children and watched so much television that he had to learn to talk. Not everyone could understand him. Those who could were lonely children who shared laugh interests with fast cars and motorcycles and who took a trouble to listen. Other children, if you happened to glimpse Raph, said, "I saw a mouse that creaked funny." Matt was the only adult who understood Raph. "Yes, sir, that mouse is a mouse in a island," he often told himself. Raph knew there were not really a million mice in the inn. Although he added the dog and an entire inn, the mouse hole were cloud. Because his rough outdoors release moved inside to keep warm. Rap's mother said they going rowdy brunch that set a bad example for the one more dancing indoor mice, while Raph and Ryan will join a miracle for a truck when using zigzag without overturning. Matt scrolled into a room called the Jumpy Frog Brunch and turning with a handful of popcorn. They dropped one kernel in the front of Raph. "Thanks," said Raph, who enjoyed nibbling popcorn, was watching television. As the kernel ended, Miss Randall turned to the lobby. "Come on, my boys," she said to Ryan. "It's past to bedtime. You know, the manager doesn't hang around the lobby." "Aw, Mom, let me watch the end of the program with Ryan. I leave if any guests arrive." At that moment, the rattle and the crunch of the car, the trench and tires, and heard Ryan's nose and walking back over Robbie, so he wouldn't miss the high-speed siren screaming change on the television screen at the left. He gave a rough little wave and then finished it. A wave no one should be noticed. Raph wished Ryan could stay up all night like a mouse. As the car stopped in the front of the hotel and the desk clerk crossed himself, Raph cursed under the grandfather clock to the nest he had made from a chew-up picnic, a watch, a ticket, and a few bits of carpet pitch, and a nibble when no one was looking beside a nest racing his two periods preparation, a little red motorcycle, and a crash helmet made from the half and pickpock ball. Waiting for the drizzle down, gift or a boy who had a notice stay in the hotel. Above, Raph, the clock began to ring and going to strike. Boing, boing, as if to someone stretched for each stroke. Raph read the sound, even though it was the reason who lived under the clock, the noise chip, and a little tree who thought the clock was out to get him. As long as they furthered the clock, Raph walked away. Motorcycle was safe. The car door slammed, feet stomped on the porch. When Matt opened the door to let two people blow into the lobby, a blast of freezing air sent Raph swirling around the bins. Never mind, thought Raph, peeking out for the two pairs of boots. The kind brown as wobble stomper, which had thick knee that held snow. "Do you have room for the night?" The owner for the larger boots and asked the desk clerk. Let's see," murmured the clerk, who always behaved at this hotel. Might be full, even though he knew it was not. "Stop picturing without Raph, who was tired of waiting." "Well," the desk clerk ended us and he soon pants. "I can let them have the room 217. Just fill out the cards, please." Raph in his car, he would scratch a pants and rattle key. He went out to the clerk, banged the rail on the mat. Even though Matt was standing right here waiting for to carry the desk bag. "Never mind," said one of the guests to Matt. "We can find our room. The pair pick up with language and stepping in an elevator, leaving behind puddles of melting snow. Cheesecake, muttered Matt. Gus, it is harder instead for the carry language to avoid to tip him. After the elevator doors closed, Raph worried that the puddles not dry before he had for Robbie himself. Time's dragging on. The man in the red vest who worked on the jumping frog and is walking out and remarked that he might as well close for the night. The television station went up in the air. The desk flew off the front floor and left if any more guests arrived. They would have to ring the night bell. Matt began to turn out the lights last night. At last, Rap used his leg over this motorcycle. Just the rubber band that held to the crash helmet in the place a gap to the tail so that it would not become to became the spokesman because as everyone knows, a toy motorcycles move when someone make a noise like a motorcycle. Rap took a deep breath when beep 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 and shot out from under the clock. Randy, he picked up the speed and zoomed down like a puddle wings and watered and flamed out for the wheels. It was firming experiment. All the Raft little brothers, sisters, and cousins hopping Matt would not notice to let them in the dim night. How about with the hiding place to watch? Of course, Raft had to show up. He took deeper breath and drove faster, making puddles splash tires, leaving tiny tire tracks on the dry road. Matt, who was begging the fire for the night and way down the pocket, enjoyed the sight. And towards me, the little reason were not selfish, not now. Once Raph and those released had been happy to have Raj push them up and downstairs, down hall on a motorcycle. But the street not enough for the roadie outdoors spring. They want to ride the motorcycle by themselves, so now all the mice want to ride. They came running and jumping across the threadbare carpet to the interim screaming, I want a ride. Give me a turn. Come on, Raph. Get up and let them use it. Raph started to whiz around with a figure eight when his tire slipped and motorcycle tripped. He lost control and went in icy, dirty water. A very outdoor mice were walking out to grab the motorcycle, but Raph quit dreaming and screaming. He dragged out for the next and then rolled off. Beep, 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 beep. And running, clutching paws. If it only could make the beep behave. Go away. You're too little, said Raph. But the time teeth being served to miss a tiny toe. You would forget to hang on your tail, and you would get him entangled with my sport to try to wipe on the nose on wet paw and wish mouth. Children going to bed at night, like human children were not. The one nice rabbit, the motorcycle, and block Rap to hug, and you're not to beat yourself to fell down. Right, or you tell your mother of them, and he say for you to supposed to give it a turn. Cousin Closet to Raph, and Kid said it wasn't fair to Raph. It was a motorcycle. Nobody had ever given for a motorcycle, and they were as good as Raph. So, some of the meaner mice told him to the mothers that Raph was spoiled and selfish, and would probably turn no good when grew up. Raph was hurt. I'm not spoiled, and I am not selfish, he said, as they tried to drag the motorcycle away from the punching claws at his heart. He did not feel selfish. He only wanted to be selfish at all. A mouse so Beberly had something to call his own. You greedy, said cheeky outdoors for the mouse. Then all the mice down to the little ones who would change the bench and the carpet began to claim, Raph is greedy. Raph is greedy. Raph finally lost in the timbers and squeaked at the top of the voice, beat it, you rotten little runt. Try to make us the outdoors mice were different, but Raph couldn't tell they were not as brave as pretended. Shocked and hurt at smart, strong way which the little indoor mice fell silent. They looked at Raph with such a sad eyes that Raph was ashamed. You say bad words at one. The voice filled the approach. I'm going to tell you, said another. My mother wouldn't call me those words. Raph felt terrible. Oh, come on, he said. It's just a motorcycle. It's wearing out. The tires are thin and daring to wear out. Never mind to go into the mud pit. The little mice would not stay for the ski. We never had the motorcycle at all. One of them said, I know about getting to Raph, but knowing how to finish and not fall to young he and not having a motorcycle still, maybe he had using language too strong for the little cars that were only trying to make a path with the pushing, shoving, grabbing, racing, behave. Matt must have understood Raph's feelings, for he came to the rescue. Shoo! He said loud enough to frighten the little mice, is not be loud enough to carry him. The words set him to scrabbling back to the hiding place. Thanks, said Matt. Think nothing of it. Matt gave the fire one last poke before he retired for the night. He left the ratty giant for Raph, who took another turn with them. All the water still hanging out from the wheels. Somehow the fun had gone out for riding that night. Worried, Raph pushes the motorcycle back to the cave under the clock, which is safe. Even though he was wet and damp with cold. He loved to wipe mud and paw print from the chrome spokes and the bread and raining clean. When he began to wipe and sweat and pride, he stubborn to wings and wasn't by all citizen cows, and we to shock and serve was used to. We're there. When Raph was wiping off and the mud is splashing, they scrum, they rush me, drew the rainy on the nest of carpet beach. He turns out to new two tricks for trying to get the balls, and the worst began to the droop his try to the little wander to ask risk or where to ride them its front. Same on the carpet his motorcycle was wearing now. None of really skin like them. They were going to rattle up him. In the morning, his mother would ventured downstairs to rent them on the evils of his selfishness and bad image. She would also Richards him on his duty to set a good example for little mice. Rat pushed his nest together again. "I am a bad mouse," he told Phil a room a guilt. "I am a rotten, not a behave." As a climbed to the nest, he curled up with a tail light around body. He wished he could and leave the mountains view in, so he would never have to face them again. But how could a mouse leave in winter when there was snow on the ground? And when swollen, he was freeze and stand on the wrong way on all three. Rafts swim and pull his tails more tightly around his body. Hope you enjoyed, and tomorrow finish work.